Phetogo Farm outside Pretoria is one of South Africa's major poultry suppliers. The owner, Ntshepeng Motema, says this past year has been tough for producers, and disruptions in global supplies of wheat brought on by Russia's war in Ukraine has triggered an increase in production costs.
If you look at the increment that started coming sharply when Russia started fighting with Ukraine, you can then see how small our world is. If you look at the recent statistics that were shared by South African Poultry Association, you would see that the price of feed went up by 22%. And when you look at the price of chicken, it is at 17%.
Even with the impact on local producers and buyers, South Africa has chosen to stay impartial in the conflict in Ukraine. Since the end of apartheid, South Africa's foreign policy has been driven by the core pillars of conflict resolution through dialogue and non-alignment, in order to avoid becoming embroiled in other nations' power battles. Researchers like Gustavo de Carvalho say while there's nothing wrong with government taking this position, the way South Africa has gone about it is problematic.
Now, I think for South Africa, the challenge that the country has faced, that while on the one hand it promotes the idea of being a non-aligned country, but in reality it has shown a lot of signs that it has certain friendly approaches towards Russia. And I think more than crafting the position is how you socialize in the position to your partners.
Carvalho says one case in point is South Africa's decision to host a joint military exercise with Russia and China on the one-year anniversary of the war, and says the move could be perceived by some as aligning themselves with Russia. The government has defended the 10-day Navy drills, which began last Friday, saying they are routine and had long been planned. It's not just here in South Africa that the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war is being felt. The rest of the African continent has been affected in some shape or form. In East Africa, drought-stricken regions that rely on grain imports from Russia and Ukraine faced the threat of severe food shortages when fighting broke out and trade routes were blockaded. To prevent people going hungry, in July, Turkey and the United Nations brokered a deal to allow the safe passage of supplies from Ukraine and Russia via the Black Sea. Since then, more than 100,000 tons of Ukrainian wheat have been exported to the port city of Mombasa under the initiative. And with the ripple effects of the Ukraine conflict being felt across the African continent, many hope that a resolution to the war will soon be reached. Ntshepeng Motema, TRT World.